Good morning, everybody. Thank you for your patience this morning. We had a few technical difficulties, so we are logging on late for this vlog. I am Pam Myers with Pam Myers Social Media, and I help my clients keep their voice out there with digital marketing. Today, we are in our vlog with Jane C. Phillips. We do this every Thursday morning at 10:30. Today it's at 10:45 Mountain Time. And so Jane, good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well.
Other than the technical difficulties we've had, but we're here. That's the main thing.
So for all of those, because of the work I do energetically, and I was telling this to Pam, I occasionally crash electronics, which I crashed my entire computer about 10 minutes before we were to go live. And I got on the phone with Pam, and her energy's nice. So my computer started coming back up the moment I was on the phone with her. So I'm going to give her all the credit for the fact that we're doing this today.
Thank you. Thank you. And we wanted to talk about a specific subject today. So we wanted to talk about the work that you do as a psychic medium, and
Right.
and explore that a little bit for we've got like 10 minutes, right? That we want to. So
Yep.
what would you tell me what comes to mind to you first when thinking about that topic? How you help people, you know?
Yep. So one of my skill sets, everybody, is that I can do medium work. In other words, I can talk to people. A psychic medium is someone who can talk to people who have passed on. And they're all just like psychics. All of us have different skill sets and different abilities. The mediumship thing is a aspect of being psychic. And what I found with myself is when people are moving on, maybe they haven't died yet or passed over, I don't like to use death because it's just death to another realm for me. It's not a final thing as we think. But the mediumship starts for me when people are starting to leave their body because they're getting ready to transition. And I find that it's not what I want everybody to call me for. So don't get, oh my gosh, I want to talk to you about this person. Because I can talk to them, but I may not be the one that gives you a sign that this is really who you're talking to, like their favorite pet's name. But every once in a while I get some affirmation, and that so that you can feel a little bit better. But how I work as a medium is when people are transitioning or have transitioned and they're kind of in that in-between place, I sometimes can find out kind of what they're thinking and get their personality and what's going on to give my clients comfort. I have a client whose son died from COVID this year, and it was unexpected. I mean, everybody thought he was going to make it. He thought he was going to make it, and that's not what happened. And so there's a lot of shock that happens with that. And so while I've referred her to other mediums that maybe can talk more about it, maybe give her more signs, what I'm doing with her is giving her comfort that he's okay. I do get messages through that he's fine. The initial messages were he was still coming to grips with the fact that he had to let his body go. But my job is to be, as a medium, is if there are people that need to be talked to, they will show up for us. And I think in another session, I talked about the gal that I live with. Her husband had Alzheimer's, and so he passed last year. But as he was getting ready to transition, because his Alzheimer's body wasn't really supporting him very well, he was able to come to me and tell me he's trying to figure out how to move on. And so I was able to share some of those messages.
So you can get those messages, but you can't guarantee a client that you could that is who it's actually coming from? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, I don't guarantee it. If I know in my heart and intuitively that this is true,
Yeah.
and certainly, but I usually can get the messages of comfort. People who, and we're going to talk about what happens after death in another session with this, but most energies, when they've left their body, are doing pretty well. There's the whole topic of suicide, which we talked about before, that you know, if you left because you chose it, sometimes those energies are just fine and happy, and sometimes they're frantic because they think they made a mistake. But my experience as a psychic medium is if in a session that's part of the session, and you don't want this whole long reading and proof that who I'm talking to, then I can do that. And there are lots of people out there that are maybe that's what they specialize in, is being able to talk to loved ones. I had a cousin in California who was dying of cancer, and my brother and I went out to visit because we wanted to say goodbye, and his wife would not let us go see him. She said, no, you can see him when he's better. And we've flown all the way from Minnesota to California.
Oh, wow.
And so I understood that it just wasn't going to happen. But so I never saw him in the end in his hospital room. But we were sitting, his parents, my aunt and uncle, had gone in to see him, and we weren't allowed. And but he came, his energy came to me while we were sitting in the hospital and said, thank you for coming. He was a really formal kind of guy. He's a year older than I was. And thank you for coming. And I told, and my brother, who had to put up with me because of all the weirdness, I said, oh, it's okay now. Bobby knows we're here. And then he passed, and about a week later, we didn't tell anyone, but we got back on a plane and flew out to the funeral. And we got delayed in Phoenix. I thought, we're going to miss this funeral. And I said, we're going to miss the funeral unless it's a 2-hour funeral. Well, of course it was a 2-hour funeral. We arrived, we sat at the back, we called the family and said, we didn't tell you we're coming, but we're going to be there. We might be after, but we're going to be there. And while we were in the back, they'd saved room for us up front, but it was, I mean, the funeral ceremony, memorial services started.
Yeah.
But we were in the back, and once again, Bobby was in my head and knew I was there.
Wow.
And so, and because I know his personality, it just felt like him. So I've had instances like that when people are transitioning. A lot of times, I'm aware that somebody's husband is passing, and I end up coming right at the end and going into the hospital, and I'm sitting with the person. I often will know who's in the room with them to help them move on. I can tell the loved ones who's there.
Yeah.
So my role seems to be right when someone's going through that transition as a medium. I get information from them because they're out of body at that point a lot. They're traveling. They're not. It's not as comfortable in their physical body because it doesn't feel well. So they're out traveling around, and I can pick that up and I can pass messages on. But after they've been gone for a while, I still can get messages. They seem to be stronger and more poignant right in the beginning, like right before passing and right after.
Yeah.
I
have a question, Jane. At the very beginning, then you said, we're a little bit of an echo, so I apologize. You said you didn't want people to call you because they wanted to speak to their loved ones. Can you embellish, explain a little bit more what you're?
Oh, thank you. I'm not the one. If you want to have a conversation with your loved one, I'm probably not the person for that. I'm the person that can give you information about what's going on with them. And there may be a little bit of a conversation, but there are mediums, and I have friends who are mediums who can really like be the translator of everything. And my skill set does not seem to be that. It's more giving you the whole piece around the passing of somebody and understanding of what they're going through and if they're all right, because that's usually the number one question is this person all right? Are they doing okay? And for the most part, unless it was a really violent ending in some way, self-inflicted or otherwise, most of these energies are doing fine. And if they haven't transitioned over to the other side, I help with that. So I'll help these people cross so they can get the healing they need. So that's kind of how I work as a medium, is to be able to help you sort through your feelings around what's happened and what's going on with them, the best of my ability. But if you want a full reading on a conversation with this person, there might be some other people I can refer you to that will maybe satisfy that more for you. And I have passed names on, so or I might be just what you need. So you
Right.
know.
Right. Yeah.
This is we're going to kind of stick to our timing on this one, so because I have something after this. But thanks all for listening in. If you have any questions about mediumship, or you've lost a loved one and you want to talk to somebody and sort it out back and forth, that's where I can play for you. If you just want a conversation, I might be able to refer you to somebody else. So my website is janecphillips.com. You can find both of, that's my transition one. You can find both of my websites as a medical intuitive and paranormal person through janecphillips.com, and reach out to me. Do 15-minute free consultations for people if they want to sort out whether I would be helpful. So thanks for listening today. And Pam, thanks so much for hosting.
You're welcome. Yeah. Thanks everybody for joining us. We'll see you. We will see you on the 5th of August, right? We'll be live again on the 5th of August. Okay. Thanks everybody.